Hello and welcome to another Overpaid Over the Bar video with me, Anthony, looking at last week's game week 4 and ahead to game week 5 in the Overpaid mini league. With me today is the very interesting participant in the mini league, John Holloway. John, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Ant. Uh, if we're talking about fantasy football, I've had a good week, but not a great start to the season. So a mixed reaction from me. Not as good as yourself. I see you're 100 points ahead of most, which is well deserved. Got a good side, but I'm looking forward to game week 5.
I want to talk about your team. Would you mind if I share that with the?
Absolutely, go
Um,
for it.
there we go. So, I mean, you've got you were heavy on Manchester. Yeah, you still are heavy on Manchester City and Liverpool, three each.
Right.
Um, and Chelsea, three each. So this is
Yeah,
quite
I've only got four teams.
right. So this is last season you played with one player, each your players playing from different teams, and
Right.
this
So if you look
season,
at if you, now I've just gone for four teams and all the bench same thing. So five teams in total. Basically three players from five teams.
and what's the reasoning behind that?
I thought I'd pick the top four teams. Nobody can actually tell us what order they'd be in, but I thought it'd be Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal. That's what I just thought
Yeah,
would be the top four. And then I thought I'd go for the surprise team where I might get the best value. So I went for Bournemouth this season.
I mean, I think that's a great choice. You got rid of you got rid of Semenyo last week. I noticed in your among your four transfers,
Yeah.
um, but you brought in Joao Pedro, I think, back in again. Is that correct?
Yeah. And I suppose the strange thing about this side, if you look at it, is the two defensive midfielders from the London clubs,
Yeah.
Caicedo and Zubamendi. Pretty what we'll have to talk about. I've gone for a heavy back four. If you took Senesi's not my starter, I've gone for Eight Nuri as a starter. So
Yeah.
that'll be my three City players. But of course, that's an automatic sub, so he's come out. Then I've gone big at the back. Um, and I've also gone for Salah and Haaland, and not
Yeah.
many have done. Um, now, there's another reason for this. And another reason for this is I need to reduce the amount of football that I watch and the amount of changes that I make. So I figured I'd go for this all season, go for just those four sides. And then I only have to watch four games. Next weekend, I only have to watch three games because City get Arsenal. So that will take out six of my
Al-
players.
Also, these clubs tend to play outside of the 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff time, which is
Hmm.
probably your Southampton time, isn't it?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I have to watch Southampton as well. But it was a good game week for me. It hasn't been a great season. I played my wild card very, very early, which wasn't the plan, and then had to sort of correct it again last week.
I mean,
And
I must confess that in the group chat that you call the circle of trust that you're very
mm,
scornful of
yes,
in my
yes,
WhatsApp group, I referred
mm,
to this as the worst wild card I've ever seen. I mean, I was
mm,
exaggerating.
yeah,
But looking at it now, it's starting to make quite a lot of sense. Because there's no reason why Salah and Haaland won't continue returning. For me, Joao Pedro is completely essential. I don't actually have him,
right.
but he's the most essential player in the game, as far as I'm concerned. He will play every game. He even told the
Hmm.
manager, evidently on Saturday, that it's okay if you rest me because I'm a bit tired. And the manager went, "No, no,
Okay,
no, you're playing."
no, yeah, I think he's
um,
got that down that spot.
yeah, with what's his name being injured, the other number nine, whose name when I do the video goes out, names go out of my head once I put the microphone under my mouth, but the guy they signed from Ipswich, Delap. Yeah.
Hmm.
So both Caicedo and Zubamendi scored. Of course, they won't score every week, but they will pick up defensive contributions, you
Mm.
would think. And everyone wants Gabriel now. I've had him since the start of the season. Arsenal had relatively difficult fixtures, so nobody bought Gabriel at the start of the season. I went
Okay,
from
but now
thinking,
it turns now, doesn't it, for them after the City
yeah,
game?
absolutely. I think it's game week 7 where they get a run of amazing fixtures.
Okay,
Yeah, and everybody will have Arsenal players at that. All the engaged managers will have Arsenal players at that point.
fair enough.
Even the married ones will also have them. That's my first
Mm.
joke of the night. So uh, anything? Let's just look at the league because not only you did well this week, also Keith Harper. I know you're a big fan.
Yeah.
He also did well this week with a score of 83.
Okay.
Um,
Because he didn't have Van de Ven on the bench.
yeah, okay, okay, yeah. That you know what as well. I made two transfers at the last minute. I made a second transfer,
Mm.
and if I hadn't made that transfer, Van der Ven would have started instead of
Right.
Paquetá, who I signed.
Classic.
Yeah, so I took a -4. So
Yeah.
that was actually worth 18 points.
Yeah.
That,
Sure.
that second signing cost me
And at
18
this stage in
points.
the season, 18 points makes a difference in the league, doesn't
Honestly,
it?
it would have put me top 50k.
Yeah.
It would have put me top 50k. I mean, like we everyone's got their stupid story. I don't,
Mm,
I try not to. I always think, okay, well, everybody's going to buy my player now, you know,
mm,
which they are. Van der Ven's price will go up again.
mhm.
Um, so he's only 4.6 still. He was 4.5 at the start of the season. Uh,
Right.
so this is interesting team from Keith. His bench has got Collins on it, which is okay. Like you've got Nuri, who has been ruled out again. Um,
And the Rangers.
yeah, and the reindeer, yeah, who looked like the best player in the Premier League for in his first
Yeah, it's been
game.
quiet for 2 or 3 weeks, but these things, that sort of price player, you don't expect them to get returns every week. Was he 5.56 million or something?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I can't remember.
yeah. He's 5.7 now, but
Yeah.
um,
All right. Still good value though.
no. But honestly, in the first half against Manchester United, he was awful. Him, I
Mm.
tell you, who was also terrible at the weekend. That's Morgan Rogers for Aston Villa. I watched the whole 90 minutes of the awful Aston Villa 0-0 at Everton. And Morgan Rogers is going for,
Yeah.
I mean, he played really well for England on the
Hmm.
week. And then he just turned in, what was it? It was, if you're watching him, it's just like, well, this is the worst display I've seen. Anyway, so yeah, so just a quick look at my team, obviously. Like,
I know you don't want to go back to it quickly, but just to look at that Keith team, he
yeah,
has also got three defensive midfielders in that starting 11.
yeah,
And I think that might be something that changes the season. He's got Iwobi, Enzo, and Rice there.
right.
And, you know, he hasn't really got any big hitters in his midfield there at all. You can't say that
I know.
there's nobody there really,
Yeah, that midfield looks
so
weak.
that's quite interesting that midfield looks weak, but he spent all of his money in sort of defence and a very strong front three.
I think
Um,
Van Dijk and
and maybe
Gabriel is
that's where
great.
value will come this season.
Having
Mm.
Van Dijk and Gabriel is fantastic.
Hmm.
I mean, look, if you had a midfield player who cost what they cost, what are they? Six, 6 million, both of
Yeah,
them.
6 million.
So if you
Yeah,
had a
and they're going to get.
midfielder for 6 million
They've got
scoring what
six,
they're
seven, eight, nine
scoring,
points every week, which they
yeah,
will.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
So yeah, I've noticed something about the defensive contributions though, is that midfielders who get a lot of defensive contributions are the defensive midfield players who also get yellow cards.
yeah, and
So if
usually on losing sides.
yeah, when they get the defensive contribution, are they? Yeah, they usually
Mhm.
have a lot of pressure. They're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
So
so letting the goal, so they lost a clean sheet, and they've got the yellow card. So basically, the defensive contribution counts for nothing.
I think if you're going to sign a cheapie for defensive contributions, make it a defender, not a midfield
Mm.
player. That's my take on it. I
Right.
don't.
My take on it was um, get the two defensive midfielders from the two of the best sides for that
You
money
always
that I could,
play.
who always play. So I thought for 5.5 million, and Mike Caicedo and Matey at Arsenal, I thought for 11 million, that's okay.
Were you watching the Arsenal game?
Yeah, I was. I
So you
watched.
must have been delighted when he scored those goals. They were great goals as well. The first goal was
They were
brilliant.
great goals, and then Caicedo came in with one later, and was like, "Oh, that's their 3 goals for the season done today." Then, but that's all right. That's how it's going to go. Let's have a little look at
Okay.
your side. Sweet.
Yeah. So I brought in Paquetá and
You've still got
Semenyo.
Ollie Watkins.
Yeah. I looked at it this morning
Mm,
and I thought he's playing Sunderland away next.
okay.
Then he has a home fixture against Fulham, and then he plays Burnley at home.
Burnley. Okay, so he can stay
But
in 3 more weeks, and then
yeah,
it's
no,
time
but
to
he's
make a
no, he's
decision.
not got 3 more weeks. He's got one more week. If he
All
doesn't,
right.
if because what I see with Villa, it's not to do with Watkins, it's not to do with Rodgers, it's the
No.
whole king team. You watch
Mm,
them, and there's no cohesion. There's
no.
no control in midfield. The midfield is really scrappy. So ever since
They're so
Douglas
different to
Luiz,
last year, aren't they?
what's that?
They're so different to last year. Last year
Well,
they were
last year
so good to watch.
I think when they lost Douglas Luiz, they lost a bit of
Yeah,
control in midfield last
yeah.
season. Um, but they had a lot of those players like Bailey and Jacob Ramsey and players like that that
Hmm.
scrap a lot. Their current players, I just can't see it at the minute that they're going to get it down. And if they go to Sunderland and they don't do anything, he's out. I'm
Yeah.
gone. He's gone. I mean, I can get in. Trop is still cheaper than him, you know.
Mm.
Um, and I can also upgrade Mark Guiu because I have money in the bank. So I'm looking at my forward line. Um, I'm definitely going to get in Gyökeres for when Arsenal's fixtures go well.
Sure.
And I'm thinking about getting in another Arsenal defender, though I might not. I might just have two Arsenals for that period, even though the fixtures are so good.
Saliba's out, but I don't know how long for.
Who?
Saliba.
So yeah, he's back in training evidently.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean this is what people are saying. So he might even feature on the bench or something in the Champions
I
League.
have looked at the is it Califordi and Timber options because they are about
Mm,
500,000 cheaper than
mm.
the big two. And there is value in there, but I'm not sure about how much they'll be played when we've got the whole Ben White being back. And I'm not
Oh,
too
also
long
Lewis Skelly.
and Lewis Kelly. Yeah. So I've just gone for Gabriel because I just think that's just set and
Ga-
forget.
Gabriel and Saliba, if they're fit, are nailed on for I'd say 9 out of 10 Premier League starts, even during the
Yeah.
Champions League.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a bit tough. We talked about this with Freddie and Adam before the season started. The Arsenal fanatics, and they were saying you can't tell from the fullbacks who's going to start week in week out.
Right. Hmm.
Um, okay, so I'm going to get rid of Bruno Fernandes. I've decided that as well.
Because of him or because of United?
No, no, I think United are absolutely terminally ill. In the summer, they didn't recruit. Actually, I just saw Paul Scholes talking about this. They didn't recruit any central midfield players in the summer,
Hmm.
which was all they needed to do. They only
Yeah.
needed one player like Mberma or Cunha, but they bought them both and Sheshko, but didn't buy any central midfield players. They're now stuck with Ugarte, who doesn't look at the level. Mainu,
Hmm.
who's not really a central midfield player, and Amorim doesn't
On
like
the
him.
bench. Hmm.
Yeah, Amorim clearly doesn't like him. Casemiro, who's past it. Bruno Fernandes,
Yeah.
who's not really a central midfield player. Well, who else? In the current Premier League, if you don't have that position tied up, I mean, I think they're going to finish. If he stays in charge, they can go down now to like the bottom 7 or 8 again.
Right.
Anyway, that's enough about.
Just one other comment about
Yeah.
your team. You've got a couple
Okay.
of players that I haven't got that I am interested in.
Yeah.
Um, you've got two Spurs defenders there at the moment. Is that because they're fixtures or because you think they're good value for money or...
I mean, it's a bit of a gamble because I'm not sure about Thomas Frank. He lost at home to um, in the third fixture. He lost.
Bournemouth?
Yeah, thank you. Um, and then outside of that, he's done really well.
Mm.
And I think he could tighten them up defensively. I love their defensive midfield.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely love their defensive midfield. I think they're really underrated. Their defensive midfield players, and they have three of them. You know,
Yeah,
um,
that's PJ Sarr, whatever he's called. He's good,
yeah,
isn't
they
he?
yeah they got Sarr and they got Bissouma, who's not playing at the moment, and uh, Bentancur, um,
Yeah.
and Palhinha, who's absolutely amazing. So you've got four in total, and they're all really, really good players for me. Palhinha is amazing, I think. So although they've got Champions League, I still think they're going to be pretty tight defensively, um, and their fixtures are really good.
Okay.
So I think this week was the second of five really good fixtures, although that did include Bournemouth. But
Oh, right.
uh, Brighton away, Wolves at
Yeah.
home, and Leeds
Wolves
away are the
away.
next three.
Villa and Everton are still winnables as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the way it's going, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mm.
I'm keeping them. I'm not going for any of their forward players, although Xavi
Good.
Simons looks interesting, I have to
Okay.
say. Anyway, anything else about the over? Anybody else's team you want to look at in the overpaid
Why?
over the
Yeah.
bar?
Just Paquetá quickly. Why? What was the Paquetá signing?
He's five. It's basically value for money. So he's 5.9. He's
Okay.
on. He's on penalties. He's a
Right.
really, really good football player, and he's
Mm.
much more attacking this season than he was last season. So last season he was playing fairly deep. This season they've just brought in two new deeper midfield players.
Yeah. Mateus Fernandes.
Who's really good. Your boy,
Mm.
Southampton player.
Yeah. Suchek got sent off this weekend as
Oh, I
well.
can't stand that man. I can't wait for him to.
Mm.
I mean, anyway. So yeah, I think that Paquetá is going to be involved a lot more in the last third this season, and at
Okay.
5.9, I think he's a decent
Fine.
enough finisher to. Well, he's also on penalties,
Right.
so that's the reasoning behind Paquetá.
Okay. I guess James Ward-Prowse might be on set pieces. He might be valued too.
If he keeps his place in the team.
Mm. They've also got Carl Walker-Peters this season.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you got three ex-Saints.
Yeah.
Okay, which brings us around to what I wanted to ask you about, because you sent me an article before Southampton played Portsmouth
Mm.
on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Um, which was in the BBC, and I was quite surprised. It was an excellent article in the BBC about the. It was kind of deep dive into the Southampton Portsmouth.
Yeah, that's why I sent it. I was so surprised that A, there was an article about it, and B, it wasn't so bad.
Right, and I discovered a lot in that
Mm.
article. I mean, obviously, I had a feeling they hadn't played each other much, but that was the first thing. They've hardly played each other in the last 20, 30 years. Um,
Right.
so that's the first. I mean, you were pretty nervous about this fixture. I mean, you're looking forward to it a lot. You're sending me things all the way through the. uh,
Probably something like 6 days to go, 5 days to go, probably.
so
Yeah.
I listened to it on. I think it was Portsmouth. So I was on a VPN. I got some kind of BBC commentary. It was actually really hard to find a commentary for it. I think it was a Portsmouth commentary I got in the end. I was kind of half listening to it, but it seemed like nothing happened in the game except Portsmouth hit the bar. Is that basically it?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. We both had average starts to the season. And for Southampton, because of the relegation, it's been a clear out summer. So players have left and, a lot of dead wood's gone. And we needed the window to get some new life and legs into the team. And that happened over the last couple of weeks because we had the international break and the window was closing. So I think 19 players left and 8 or 9 came in. Of those players, a lot were quite big sales. So Tyler Dibling went to Everton for 40 million. Fernandes went to West Ham for 40 million. Um, uh, we also lost Ramsdale, the keeper, to Newcastle. There were 2 or 3 15 million sales. So I think about 130 million came in, and they spent about 70 of it.
Mm.
On what they've done this season is they've actually bought the better players from the championship side. So they bought the best
Oh,
Middlesbrough player and the best West Brom player,
oh,
and they've decided to do it that way, which is fine. But they haven't gelled and they haven't been together because it's been an international break. So they've all been
mm.
away playing for it's Southampton. So they've been away playing for Northern Ireland and Scotland. They haven't been playing for Brazil and France, but they haven't been together as a group. And with this new manager, Will Still, who, for those of you who like anything to do with fantasy football, is just he's the championship manager king. So he made his fame and fortune from playing championship manager. And he basically, that's him calling me now. He basically just does everything from stats. So he looks at distances run, pass completion rates, all of that. He sits there with an iPad during the game, doesn't give any team talks, makes all his substitutions based on stats that are coming in, and just plays the numbers game. And that's it. And he's brought in some unknowns, and that's fine. But of course, not really what you want on the eve of the South Coast Derby. We really want a side to be up and running and
Yeah.
playing really well, not 11 strangers on the field in a kind of very hostile atmosphere
Mm.
who've basically never kicked a ball together, and it wasn't the perfect time to be playing them. So one half of me says, disappointed not to have won because we've spent a lot more money than Portsmouth have. We've got a stronger squad on paper than Portsmouth. The other half of me says, thank God we got away with that. Let's just move on. And the season starts now for Southampton, really. Now they've got some time together to work out what they're going to do. It's the first time he played back four. He played back five until then. I think three players made their debuts in a derby. It's not ideal. And Portsmouth started well, and they decided they were going to strangle the game. And they even did things like when the ball went out for a throw in, nobody went over to go and get the ball. So you can't even give anybody a yellow card for that. It was just blatant time wasting from the start. The ball went out. They all just looked at each other. And the referee's like, is anybody going to get this ball? And they said, nah. What are you going to do? Book everyone? And they did that again and again. And they just stifled the game brilliantly, which is what they needed to do. And, calm the crowd down. It went quiet after 20 minutes as the Southampton fans realised this is total dog shit. The players started to panic and they lost their shape and they just started hoofing. And that's Will Steele has announced that as a waste of 45 minutes of the season. The players learnt nothing. The fans learnt nothing. Came back in the second half. And I think they won the first half. We won the second half. You have derbies with your Plymouth games. They're either humdingers or they're dog shit. That's often the way it goes with derbies.
Yeah, I can't remember a Devon derby that was 0-0, to be honest. Usually one team.
Right. It's only the second one actually we've had in 127 years.
Right.
We've played each other. I think it's like 12 times in my lifetime. I'm half a century old. We played each other 6 times in the Premier League together. And then apart from that, we meet occasionally in the Cup. And I think it's 13 seasons since we've met in the league. So there was a lot of pressure on it. Probably more for the fans than the players. I don't actually care. I don't know how much the players actually care about these things. They're all mercenaries. I don't know if it has the same value for the players.
Yeah, I mean, that's brings me on to something actually that I've been thinking a lot about recently is the way that players think and where their loyalties lie. Because I don't know why fans expect players to have loyalties to the clubs they play for.
Of course not.
Like, why would they? When you think about it, a lot of them, only like 5% of them are playing for the club that they came through as a youth.
Right.
I don't know how many percent, but I imagine it's something like that.
I imagine 1% of professionals play for the team of that they support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And they know damn well that as soon as they have 4 games, the fans are going to be wanting them out of the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why should they care, about like committing themselves to the club and all
kissing
this?
the badge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, football fans. I mean, we love football because it's passionate, emotional. We love it because of the feelings it gives us. And I can understand people getting passionate and whatever. But sometimes you look at football and go, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to get tattoos and stuff. It's not going to happen. Actually, in connection with that, and a player we haven't mentioned so far in our fantasy football teams, Eze going to Arsenal. You saw the unveiling of him 2 or 3 weeks ago when he got unveiled. It felt really genuine, didn't it? Like he was at the club that he loves, and the way he walked out there, and his parents were in the crowd, and I remember thinking this means something to him. And he did get an assist at the weekend, and I'm just wondering if he's slipped under my radar at the moment, and he might be a player that I should be looking at, because if he starts cooking, then it could get really interesting, and he could be good value.
The only thing I would say is that with Champions League, I mean, some people are thinking that, they're going to play their stronger teams in the Premier League because the Premier League's more important. Not at this stage of the season, because what Arsenal, Man City want to do is wrap up the Champions League by December. They don't,
possible, yeah.
Because if you end up in that quite large group of teams that have to play more
Uh-huh.
games in January, February, that's a
Yeah,
real bother to those clubs, you know?
yeah. Because you've also got cup games, and Premier League just has
Yeah,
this 6 games in January
they've
thing.
set it up more so that clubs are trying to win the games early on, not less now,
Mm,
because you
mm,
don't want to be outside. What is it? Only the top eight, I think,
yeah.
in January, February, because then you play two more games, and they're
Mm.
terrified of more games, you know. So I would say, okay,
You want to get
all
it done and dusted early. It's so much
yeah.
better.
So I wouldn't be
Mm,
so half surprised to see them playing stronger teams in the Champions League
mm,
than they're playing in the Premier League,
mm.
which means that with a team like Arsenal, who can beat teams without putting their strongest team out, you may see,
May see rotation.
yeah, in the midfield
Yeah,
especially.
yeah. I think you're probably
Um,
right.
so that's the only thing I would say against it. I think he's an amazing football player, and I think that team does suit him. I mean, I love him. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love it? I mean, with your
Sure.
chess, your love of chess, you must love that as well about him. He's a
Yeah,
chess maestro.
yeah. In fact, I like everything about him. What I do like about him is he actually seems quite down to earth. He actually seems like a sort of bloke that I think I could have a conversation with. He
Yeah.
doesn't. He seems genuine.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. I
No,
imagine
no.
him and Saka right laugh.
I mean, I saw a video of Crystal Palace fans. They were interviewing them outside the ground about how they
Mm.
felt about him leaving and going to Arsenal, and they were virtually crying, saying, saying what a great guy he was and how they
Yeah.
wish him the best and all that. It was like
Yeah.
he couldn't have done it in a more um,
Non-Isaac way.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I don't blame Isak or Vissa
No,
for
I don't either.
when you look at what happened to Mark Gay, he got totally stitched up because he did it all the
Yeah.
right way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, I
um,
agree.
yeah. So I
Isaac's
think
not in your team yet.
I would love to get him, but not. I think it's at least we're at least 3 game weeks off that. And if you get him, you can't
Okay. And
have.
he's what, 10 and a half? I think I just,
Yeah, no. If you get him, you can't have a lot of other players. So at the minute, it's
yeah,
not worth
it's very
thinking
limited.
about at all,
Right.
in my opinion.
I agree with you. Yeah. And you get better value with these Juan Pedro's, at the moment, um, who might score similarly and cost you 3 or 4 million less.
I mean, his price is crazy, absolutely crazy. Okay, so let's just we're gonna have we haven't got too much time because I have a limit on these recordings,
Right.
but uh, just wanted to ask you about Avaí, your local team in Brazil, in Florianopolis, where you live. I just checked their table position and their results. So they won their last game, but they're dropping behind the promotion spots in the Brazilian Serie B, hoping to climb back to Serie A. But they've got a couple of home fixtures coming up this week, one tomorrow and one on Saturday. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. They are the ultimate yo-yo club. They go up, finish bottom, come down, finish fourth, go up again. Stadium size about 12, 13,000. Usually get about 8 or 9,000. Lovely ground. Uh, and the problem is this month the players hadn't been paid, sorry. So they just phoned in for 3 games. You see, they lost the bottom three, so they played 3 of the bottom 4 and lost them all. Then they got paid on the Wednesday and they beat the leaders Goiás straight away. So the players are just like, well, we can turn it on whenever we want. You pay us, we'll play. And the fans get really frustrated with this because it's so blatantly obvious in the first 3 minutes of the game what's going to happen as they're just sort of dawdling around because they obviously haven't been paid that week. And then they get this, they're mercenaries. It's going back to the heart. These guys are real mercenaries. um, they're okay. The other thing is, it's one of those clubs we don't actually want them to go up because if they go up, it's just going to be a year of getting hammered. So
Yeah.
finishing fourth or fifth would be ideal. They're based in Florianopolis, a city in the south of Brazil, where I live, and um, yeah, they're rubbish, but that's fine.
And
They did have Wagner Love. Do you remember Wagner Love?
I think you've told us about this before on one of the other videos. You think you met Wagner
Yeah,
Love.
Wagner Love was there last season. Yeah, a bit of
Hmm.
Wagner Love. They're all right. I don't have high expectations of them at all. But it's
Okay.
just an excuse to see live football. The big thing in Brazil at the moment is obviously Ancelotti taking over the national team,
Oh
so
yeah.
having the first kind of foreign coach and the impact that's going to have. And that's maybe something we can talk about at a later date, but that's mostly what most people are talking about at the moment.
Hmm.
It's so strange for Brazilians to have a non-Brazilian national team coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course Brazil finishing sixth or seventh out in the South American qualifiers when only the top eight go through, and Brazil basically scraped it.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
In
that's
years gone
right.
by,
And they
that
almost
wouldn't have been enough, would it?
no, that's right. And I think they finished seventh out of 12, and it was just rubbish. Hey, so the
mm.
country's in meltdown. They lost to
There's a
Bolivia.
lot of potential first time countries in Africa for the World Cup in the because if you top your
Right.
group, you go straight through, and there's a couple of really interesting ones there. Cabo Verde
Absolutely.
is
We've
one
got
of them.
Suriname. I think. Yeah, Cape Verde gone through. Suriname here in South America have gone through. I think we're
Oh,
about to.
really? Oh,
Um, nice. Yeah,
wow, I didn't know that.
Clarence Seedorf's. Yeah. Yeah, apart from that, I'm pretty good. What about your Exeter, just to finish up? How are they doing?
This is getting a bit, um, I would say worrying at this point. We've won three games. Mhm. We've won three games and lost five. We've lost the last two games, and when we won three and lost three, it looked okay because we won two games at home really handsomely and entertaining
Okay.
football. But the fans have been complaining for a long time that the manager just closes the game down and tries to nick a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And when it doesn't work, it's ugly as hell. And the last two games um, were defeats against teams in the bottom four. And we lost at
Right.
home on Saturday against a team that hadn't won yet. Um,
Mm.
so although our league position doesn't look, disastrous, the writing's on the wall. We got some hard fixtures coming up, and
Yeah, and they've dropped points against other teams.
the fans online. I mean, I know. I mean, Adam said this in about Arsenal, but the fans online are always worse than the fans in the stadium. But the fans
Sure.
online are not behind the manager, and they're very negative and pessimistic. Um,
Mm.
I mean, the biggest issue for me is that the financial progress we made in the last few seasons, where we could pay players more, have a bigger squad, has now been cut
Mm-hmm.
back, and they're saying we can't afford it, and we've got to cut back. That is
Mm.
the biggest worry for me because as soon as that happens, you can't compete in League One. You're up against clubs that have proper budgets, and you're scrapping with a few other crap teams down the bottom to stay alive. And we've benefited so far from the fact that clubs like Peterborough and I think Blackpool have had really bad starts. Usually bigger clubs in that division, but they're going through rough periods. But that's not going to go on the whole season. So I'm very worried to be honest. We're playing Plymouth Argyle in November on a Thursday
Not a
night.
great time to have a derby then.
No, on a Thursday
Oh
night
god.
on Sky.
Yeah.
So I'll
Mm.
be able to watch it. But yeah, I'm hoping for some.
Like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Behind the
Anyway,
sofa.
yeah. So
Right.
that's what's happening. Um, Otherwise, Portuguese league. Porto beat Sporting last week, so they're top of the
Okay.
Portuguese league. Um,
Right.
Out of the three big clubs, they're the ones that have got off to the best start. The Champions League
Mm-hmm.
kicks off tomorrow. Benfica and
Yep.
Sporting are in that, and some really interesting ties for the English clubs. Um, I think there'll be really good games actually. Looking at it, so I'm quite excited about that. To be honest, Champions League this
Will that
week.
have an impact on people's teams for next weekend because of who plays midweek might not play on at the weekend?
I mean, no, you can't say for sure, but there's always some kind of effect from the Champions League. Newcastle play Barcelona on Thursday, and then they play again
Right.
on Sunday. Um,
Yeah.
Against who are they playing on Sunday? They are playing Bournemouth away. So get your money on Bournemouth, I would
Yeah.
say.
Not
Their
many teams
squad,
get Barcelona and then those two South
historically, I don't
Coast.
think that's occurred very often.
Okay. Yeah. I know that doesn't happen very often, does it? No.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd imagine Bournemouth will beat Newcastle on Sunday, because
Yeah.
Newcastle have to go. I think they have to go to Barcelona for that game. Let me just check. On Thursday. That's Friday. Thursday. No, they're playing at home to Barcelona, which isn't too
Okay.
bad. So yeah, that perhaps they can recover well for Sunday. Um,
Hmm.
but it definitely gives, I think, players like Semenyo, all those talisman players for the smaller teams, which you're not owning, because you're concentrating on the bigger teams. Those talisman players for the small, like Mbermo would have been last season. This is the
Mm-hmm.
moment where those players are worth more because
Yeah.
they're coming up. They're not only, not playing in Europe, but they're coming up against teams that are. So,
Yeah.
they're naturally fresher than their opponent potentially.
Sure.
I
So you're
can't believe
looking
any.
at Palace players, Bournemouth
Yeah.
players, your Fulhams, your
Well,
Evertons,
Palace are
who
in the
who.
Europa League, but yes.
Uh, okay, but your Jack Grealishes, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm
Mm.
not I'm not a huge fan of him fancy wise yet. Um,
Hmm.
I do think that I've been watching Everton, and I think they were quite lucky to get the results they've got. Although he's very creative, he's a really good football player. I just think that he was given a lot of space, especially at Wolves. He was given loads of space in midfield, and that won't happen
Yeah,
every game for Everton. He certainly do them a lot of good. He wins a lot of free kicks. He's very good for progressing the team up the field. He's really good at that.
yeah,
But I think fancy wise, he might not get that many goal involvements.
yeah. It depends on feeding Beto. Depends on feeding Beto, and Beto's a little bit hit and miss, isn't he?
Miss and miss. Yeah.
Miss and miss. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Right. I've got to get back to sorting out my fancy team because I'm making absolutely no changes this week and no transfers. So that's that done. And
Yeah, me
hopefully that's
neither.
how it's going to be for the rest of the season.
I might
Yeah.
make one on Friday, but on Saturday, but otherwise I may
Okay.
leave it. All right, John, thank you so
And
much
you
for
think you're
joining
giving
me.
Ollie Watkins his final? You think you're giving Ollie Watkins his final
His
final
final game.
shot?
Yeah, I'm giving him one more
All right.
game. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again soon on here.
Yeah, certainly will do. And good luck to everybody next game week.
That's very nice. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.